Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Bethany Diaz. I'm a muralist and painter who is currently traveling through Latin America, reconnecting with my roots and painting murals that tell stories of Latino struggles and triumphs. Today, we're going to watch my process for my first painting being made in Mexico City, and it's the start of something much bigger, both in my art and in my life. So this piece was inspired by the book Solito by Javier Zamora. It's a memoir about his journey from El Salvador to the US when he was like 9 years old. The fear, isolation, and hope that he wrote about stayed with me. Being a child of an immigrant and understanding what it takes to migrate to the US on a deeply personal level, this book had me in tears. Even though my journey is insanely different, I relate deeply to the feeling of being solito, or being alone, and to the fear of setting out on a journey not knowing if things will play out the way that you hope. Alright, so let's get into the drawing a bit. We are now in the shading stage here, and I'm wanting to emulate that like nighttime feeling. This is obviously a nighttime scene, so started everything with a blue background to try and get that vibe, and then now I'm just going in and trying to find my like basic shapes, just trying to figure out my lighting. We've got the moonlight. I'm picturing a full moon in this setting, so he's looking up at the moon and it's shining on his face, and once we get to the color, I'll really try to like emulate that vibe even more. But right now I'm working just in blue so that I can figure everything out, figure out my shading. Yeah. So why did I decide to come to Mexico City? Why am I here? I came to Mexico City first to run a marathon, but also to be inspired by the city and create work that speaks to the Latino experience. Not just mine, but a shared story of identity, migration, and resilience. I'm spending the first few months painting, researching, and eventually hosting my first solo gallery show. It's the most ambitious thing I've ever done. So right now we're working in my iPad. I'm making a mock-up for the final version, which will be painted traditionally on wood, using probably oil paint, but maybe acrylics. I don't really know yet. I wanted to experiment first digitally to really get the emotion and composition right. And I feel like here I'm starting to feel like I've got the composition right. So I'm going to start dropping in my reference images, and I'm going to use these to kind of help me figure out my styling and coloring of this painting now that I've got this basic sketch done. So I'm just going to come through and try to figure out if I want to do this in full color or if I want to keep it monotone, which honestly I've kind of decided at this point I want it to be in color. And I started off way too warm. I wanted him to feel Hispanic, so I was like making his skin the color that I want it to be, which is very similar to the reference image I'm using there, which is actually a picture of Javier Zamora when he was a little kid. So he's my inspiration for this. I ended up finding this other oil painting that I think it was called Moonlight Magic. I'm going to have to source it in the caption. I can't remember the name of it. I'll look it up. But it was emulating the perfect color, like the perfect vibe of like being lit by moonlight. And I was so happy to have found it. So I'm really trying to emulate the vibe of that painting in mine as well now. So I'm like messing with colors. And when I started doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, like he looks green. Like this looks so weird. But I was just trying to trust the process, kept going through with it. And I really do think by the time the full color gets shown, like you're gonna be like, oh wow, yeah, like that looks good. For me, digital painting isn't really my thing. I don't enjoy it as much, and it doesn't really speak to me the same way that real paint on canvas does. This process is like sketching for me. It helps me make all my big decisions now before I commit to the real thing. I've learned this lesson the hard way, honestly. On murals, I would make like a really rough plan in my iPad and then try to solve all my problems up on the wall just because I wanted to get started faster. It's such a time kill, honestly. My word of advice, solve all your problems, or at least your biggest ones, in your mock-up before you start working on the real deal. This is my first time filming a YouTube video like this, so I hope you guys are getting something out of it. When I was younger, I used to watch videos like this, but mostly of cartoonist sketching, hoping that one of them would drop the secret to how to find your style. I never really felt like I found the answer back then, or even as recently as like a year ago. I still felt like I hadn't found my true artist voice. Every part of this next chapter in Mexico City is super unfamiliar. I'm living in a new country. I'm trying to communicate in Spanish and like not that well. and trusting that the art that I want to make is going to help guide me through this process. There are some days where I wonder if I'm doing the right thing or if I'll ever feel fully fluent, not even just in speaking Spanish, but in belonging here too, or in feeling Hispanic enough, feeling Latin enough, feeling Latina enough. And even so, being this uncomfortable and this uncertain is like a shock to the system. In the same breath, I've never been so sure about the kind of art that I want to make, and for that, I'm super grateful for this time. As I'm making these videos and doing this, I think a lot about my kid self watching YouTube videos and drawing along with these older artists that were honestly much older than even I am right now, and the young artists that might be watching this, who might be unsure of themselves, of their art, or even people who maybe didn't grow up speaking Spanish, or who are trying to find their place. I was that kid, and in a lot of ways, I still am. This painting is about immigration, and this gallery show I'm working towards is for Latinos. And even us no sabo kids have a place within the culture. The importance comes from embracing your roots, and sometimes that can be hard in a country that wants you not just to assimilate, but to almost abandon your roots completely, especially these days. And of course, there's the fear of being made fun of by your peers for trying to navigate speaking Spanish when you weren't taught, or even being belittled by people who know nothing of your culture. I've had both of these things happen to me countless times. I hope that as I'm documenting my work and my journey, that it encourages you guys to be proud of who you are and to go after your dreams even if you're scared. The best part about doing it scared is that you're doing it anyway, and you get to be proud of yourself regardless of the outcome, knowing that you didn't shy away and you gave it your all. And I'm telling you guys this, but really it's what I needed to hear. I'm going on my 4th year being a self-employed artist entrepreneur, and there's been so many twists and turns on this path, and I've been so scared so much of the time. A lot of people would say that I'm irresponsible, that I'm crazy for coming out here and doing this journey without much of a savings, without knowing where my next dollar is coming from. And all I can say to that is that it's worked up until now, and I'm going after the things that I want. I'm doing a project that I'm really passionate about, and all I can do is hope that it'll work out. So, am I crazy? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So anyways, this is only the beginning. I'll be sharing my entire process here. Painting, experimenting, learning along the way. If you're curious about the behind the scenes of art or interested in collecting work with a deeper story behind it, I hope you'll stick around. Next, I'll be painting this image onto a wood panel and starting the traditional painting process. I'll be sharing clips of that here too. This is part of a bigger body of work I'm building for my gallery show I'm planning next year. I'll also be donating a portion of the profits from print sales to organizations supporting migrants as well as displaced communities, including Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. Being solito doesn't mean being lost. It means trusting yourself when you can't yet see the full path. If you're here for the journey, thank you. I'm really glad you're here. And if you've made it this far, leave a comment down below. I'd love to know what questions y'all have for me, and if you want to see more of the traditional painting process, subscribe. I'll be doing that next. See you guys next time. Peace. And there you guys have it. This is the final rough draft or the final mock-up for my painting that I'm going to start probably next week. So hope you guys stick around, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.